Thank you.
Did you get everything that you wanted out of Paige today? I mean, she looked good, you got her a decent amount of minutes and then pulled her?
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was the plan going in, just kind of get her feet wet. Obviously she hasn't played in a while, and we talked about how many minutes, and thank you. And I thought in that respect, she looked really comfortable and felt really good, and obviously the same page as usual. Maybe a little more animated. I think she's happy to be finally playing. So, yeah, successful day for her.
Geno, first half especially, you guys had a tremendous shooting percentage on inside the arc.
Yeah.
Is that one of those pass up good shot for the great shot kind of things? That ball movement that produced that?
That's interesting. I don't know. That is obviously that's a concept we live with. Pass up something good for something great. The decision is, what's a great shot, a wide open three by, Paige, AZ, Caroline, or throw it inside and have to score over somebody sometimes. I think there's a fine balance. I mean, we still ended up with 33s, which is probably where we want to be. But I don't just want to come down and shoot a three. I don't think we're quite there yet, with the new wave of playing, where it's half your shots are threes. But I did like our ball movement, and I do think that the ball movement increases exponentially when Paige is in the game. I think she played 15 minutes and had 7 assists, or 11 minutes and had 7 assists. I think that's the kind of stuff that generates those kind of shots more often than not.
Obviously, you're not going to play this many people during the regular season, but is this the most depth you think you've had?
In a while, I would say. Probably since 2016, maybe, but we've also started out a lot of other seasons with a lot of depth too, and it didn't quite pan out that way. But I feel comfortable when I sub. I feel comfortable knowing that they need those minutes to get better, and depending on how I used those substitutions, I have to make sure that the right combinations are out there so that they look their best. I think sometimes if you have a strange combination out there, you end up with a fourth quarter where it's 15-12. So you've got to mix and match. But I thought for the most part we were able to accomplish that.
KK was pretty impressive today. Just what did you see from her and the other freshmen that you liked?
KK, you mean? Yeah, that's kind of who she is. That's her game. She's kind of electric in that way, and she creates offensively. She creates defensively. She just has an explosiveness about her. She doesn't know the college game yet. She doesn't know what she doesn't know, which is probably important at this stage of her career, because she's just starting, and I would hate for her to wonder about what's the right play, what's the wrong play. Just play. She's a difference maker in the sense that we don't have anybody else like her on the team, and we certainly haven't had anybody else like her since the days of Mariah and Crystal. So it's good to be able to have somebody like that coming off the bench.
Can you talk about Aubrey's role? She looked really good out there today, and just how is she feeling physically this year, and
start today, but looks like she could be a big part of this.
Yeah, when Aubrey's healthy, when she's 100%, you saw the impact that she can have defensively on the backboard. She is pretty healthy for the most part. I hope that we can keep her that way. Anytime, in your past you've had back surgery, it's always something that you worry about. But if we can keep her minutes in bursts, 3-4 minutes here, 3-4 minutes there, and not have it be prolonged, I think we can keep her that way. And again, she's quite different than our other wings. Everything's about building on it, so we need her to build on today.
Bit of a ways away, maybe, but what are you looking forward to most about coming to Canada next month?
Dinner in Toronto. It's always been one of my favorite cities to visit. Last time we were there, we had a great trip. It's not often that you get to play in a historic arena, like Maple Leaf Gardens. And obviously, anytime one of your players gets an opportunity to play in front of their friends and family and people that, maybe haven't seen her in person in a long time. So I know it's exciting for Aaliyah. I know how excited the players were when we went to Croatia. So it's a trip that comes at the perfect time for us because it gives us an opportunity to be on the road and all be together right before the holidays. So there's a lot of great things about that trip coming up.
Any particular restaurants in mind? You talked about dinner.
Yeah, I don't want to give any of them away. Maybe I should tell you where Paige is going. That way, all the paparazzi can go there and leave the rest of us alone. But Nick Nurse gave me some real good ones, so we got our choices.
Geno, what do you hope, or what can you anticipate Aaliyah's ceiling is for this year?
Leah's what?
Ceiling.
Ceiling. Well, I always try to get players to think about what are my strengths. What at the core, who am I? And for Aaliyah, it's got to be how physical, how aggressive, and how assertive she can be at both ends of the floor. And to me, when she's at her best, like she was for the majority of last season, it's the 15-footers are going in, the rebounding's there, the defense is there, the finishing around the basket is there, getting to the free throw line a lot. If there's a consistency to Aaliyah this year, I think building on what she did last year, I think she can have an All-American type season, as she did for the most part of last year. I would think that that's certainly within her reach.
Looking ahead to Wednesday's game, Dayton's obviously led by your former player, Tamika Williams-Jeter. What's your favorite memory with her, and what do you hope you've taught her over the years?
My favorite memory of Tamika. When we were recruiting Tamika, that was probably a great memory. She's so loud and so extroverted and vivacious is what they used to call people like that back in the day. And she was someone you could have a lot of fun with. And I don't know if I remember telling this story, but I remember when you could send a plane to go get people back in the day, and a lot of the big schools thought they were, ahead of the game because they would send an airplane to pick you up and fly you in for official visit. And, she was all excited about that happening with some of the other schools. So I mailed her one of those airplanes that you put together, that skinny cardboard, and I said, I'm sending a plane for you. And I found out the other day her mom still has it. So I think that was really cute. That was the first thing I think about when I think about Tamika was how much fun it was recruiting her. And then when she got here, if you see KK today, if you never saw Tamika play, if you see KK today and the way she approaches the game and how she is, that's kind of how Tamika was, except much, much bigger and capable of doing more things physically. So the energy and the physicality that she brought to the game, I don't know what I taught her. Not well enough. She went into coaching, so I didn't teach her well enough. But I know she loves the game, and I know she loves people. And I know that all her kids are going to have as much fun with her as I did.
Can you just talk about the other freshmen, assess how they played today? Ice, but all the others.
Well, they all have, I remember saying this earlier, they all have something that's unique to them, something that that is a strength for them. And today, basically, they pretty much did what their strength dictates that they do. You see how versatile Ice can be, scoring in the lane. She didn't make any threes, but she's a terrific shooter. She's a good free throw shooter. She has a sense for the game, and she hasn't played a college game. Today was her first college game. KK, obviously, we talked about. Ash, you saw what kind of energy she brings and how hard she plays at both ends. And I think a little known fact about her is you see the rebound she got down at the other end. She's really, really tremendously athletic and strong. And obviously she's a terrific shooter. And Q is like, she's tough to pin down, I think she's going to be a great defender. Maybe in the Nikisha sales mode, she might not be able to guard her man, but she'd be able to guard the other four guys, knowing where the ball is all the time. She has she enjoys the game, and she knows she's a great shooter, and she works really hard to get open shots. I thought she passed up a couple today, but if you add Ice into the mix of Ash, KK, the only thing was missing was Geno. That would be a hell of a five, wouldn't it? Right? But they all have their unique strengths, and I thought today they all showed a little bit of who they can be, who they are, and who they can be. Again, it's having them out there in the right combinations too.
Kind of going off of that, do you see Ice kind of taking that role in the starting lineup eventually, or do you like starting with those four guards?
I don't know. I think it's going to depend on maybe what the game dictates or how I feel about where they are at that particular time. There's something to be said about having a set lineup and never changing it, and I've certainly done that, And I also think there's something to be gained by varying it up for different matchups. But during the course of the game, it's the minutes that you get, as opposed to do you get them in the beginning, the middle, or the end. You know, if you're good enough, which she is, all the minutes will be there. But there will be times when we need to have her in the lineup and we need to have two bigs in the lineup. Did anybody get fouled today? Watch out when the players come in the interview. Be careful they don't foul you. We had 25 in the exhibition game. We had 20 today. So be on your best behavior when they walk in.
Is that your teachable thing from today?
Teachable thing from today. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Honest to God, it's just it's contagious, I think. The one downside to ramping up the aggressiveness factor and saying we really want to get after it is then it takes some work to go from let's play conservatively because we don't have enough bodies to now let's attack every possession and then let's know when to do what. So we're working on that.
You only had 8 fouls today, Alexa.
Huh?
You actually only had 8 fouls today.
Who?
You.
Us? I thought we had 20.
No, they
They had
had 20.
20? Oh, we only had 8. I think the refs gave us I think they gave us a great whistle today.
Tell the jury to disregard that last one.
We only had 8? Oh, man. I'm kind of disappointed. What are you going to say?
What's Paige been like this week? Has she just been like increasingly antsy just to get out there? Has she been
Somewhat emotional a little bit, you know, in the sense that when we were discussing the minutes with the medical staff, her opinion was 25 to 30, which varied significantly from my opinion. So that was a little bit of an emotional thing. But just seeing her and we had a couple WNBA scouts come to watch practice, and she just, you know, she put on a show for them, and it was so much fun to see. It was so effortless, and it just, everything looks so easy, and it just comes so natural for her that I can just imagine what it must have been like all year long to not be able to do that when you're so gifted at something and then you can't do it, and you waited this long, and then it's finally here. There was a look on her face, even when she came out and she knew it was her last go around. It's ironic that she came out after a little scrum there for a loose ball, you know. I think she's been dying to get in those situations to test herself out, see how I am. And I think she passed every test today and played 11 minutes and had, you know, a great impact. You know, so imagine if she played 30-some minutes.
Anything else for Coach?
Everybody good?
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Geno.
We're going